carrots, fake fruit, fake grapefruits, fake liar, you liar.
Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Free for All Friday, and this is unbelievable what's going on. I'm going to come right out the gate with the big stuff, folks. But first, remember, this is your show, my show, all the time. But on Friday, I don't do a 30-minute monologue. I go, then you, and we switch back and forth. So get your questions in to Jolene down here. If you are not prepared, folks, don't follow this man's advice. This guy literally said that's on your priority list. Yeah, the President of the United States says to get prepared for a hurricane, you need to get vaccinated. What an imbecile. I mean, how many Democrats are out there like, whoa, thanks, President Joe. That's a great idea. I'm going to run right out and do that. I mean, literally 99 out of 100 Americans say, no, thank you to that juice booster. We'll pass, right? Because the booster rooster says, hey, you can't refuse to drink this. Well, guess what? Yeah, refusing is just fine, folks, because they can't make you. They can't. And they shouldn't have even tried, but they showed us who they are. Now, when it comes to showing us who they are and what they're up to, both sides are playing their cards over in Ukraine. That's right. Putin and Russia have officially annexed Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and the other one that starts with a K. I am okay with what's going on because, I just love all of this shit they're doing. Actually, I don't, folks. What is going on is there is now an energy crisis in Europe that has been exacerbated by Ukraine, the United States, NATO, United Kingdom, and everyone else who's a player there. They've made it worse. And Putin blamed the U.S. for this week's unexplained explosions of the Nord Stream pipelines. That's both pipelines, folks, right? They're damaged, they're leaking, they're no good. And Putin said, quote, it's obvious to everyone who did it, end quote. And he's referring to the United States government. Now, on the issue of energy, the energy shortages, and the massively increasing costs, headed into what is going to be a cold European winter, because every winter in Europe is a cold European winter. Right? Putin criticized the Western elites for this problem that is their own making. And when I say Western elites, I mean not only countries and their puppet leaders, but also the World Economic Forum. This is what Putin said, though. They, meaning the banking cartels of Europe and America, they print money, but you cannot warm your homes with this printed money. They have to convince their citizens to shower less, eat less, and put on warm clothes. The Western elites, it's a crisis due to their own fault, and that the goal is to break Russia at any costs. Now, again, Putin continues, the dictatorship of the Western elite is directed against all societies, including against the people of those Western countries themselves. It's a challenge for all. This means the total negation of the human, the overthrow of religion and traditional values as the crushing of freedom becomes to look like the opposition of religion, open Satanism. That's the words of Putin, folks. When you look at what they're doing to Europe, and especially to the country where we live, they're openly doing what? Destroying and shitting all over our Constitution, our laws, the judicial system, the presidency, Congress, our rights, our education system, our children. To the point, folks, where they scream and yell that they love killing babies and that they do it every chance they get. And having satanic gatherings in public grounds for children. Satan's after-school club, folks. Unbelievable. Now, he repeats also his familiar theme of rejecting, this is Putin. Rejecting the LGBT gender ideology is a threat to Russian society, which the West seeks to impose. Folks, they're completely rejecting not just Ukraine. They're not protecting their people from just military, but they're protecting the Russian people from all of the filth that is coming out of Washington, D.C. and Brussels, the European Union. The demand to accept scum from other countries into ours. The demand to destroy our educational system, our culture, our morals, our values. It's hard to see Putin as the bad guy, because this is what he is citing as his reason, right? As his reason for going into Ukraine and ultimately letting those people vote. And it's incredible, folks. He says, get this, basically he gives his mission accomplished speech. And the eastern provinces, the breakaway republics, are now part of Russia forever. He touted the referendums, folks, that were, he says, they were accomplished in line with UN Charter on self-determination for all peoples, and vowed, quote, this is what Putin vowed, they have made their choice. This is the only path to peace. We will protect our land using all our forces, and we will protect their security. We will, of course, rebuild all destroyed towns and continue building hospitals, theaters, and schools. I found that interesting that hospitals and schools were right there with theaters. I wonder what kind of theaters the Russians have. Do you think they have drag queen theaters? Do you think they have Hollywood movies in their theaters? Or do you think they have entertainment that is more in line with Russian tradition, custom, beliefs, and morals? I'm pretty sure they don't have what we have over here. Now, Putin was very blunt. He informed his top officials at St. George's Hall, and that's not St. George Floyd. Let me remind you of that. It's St. George's Hall at the Grand Kremlin Palace. And he said there's 4 new regions of Russia. 4 new regions, folks. Moscow, Putin, the Kremlin say that their special military operation, their SMO, is going to continue to at least all of Donetsk is captured and liberated from the aggressors known as Ukraine. That's what he says, folks. Right? And he says they're willing to talk to Kiev. He says, we call on the Kiev regime to immediately stop hostilities and sit at the negotiating table. Now, Putin says he won't negotiate the status of the annexed territories. Putin blamed the United States for the pipelines, et cetera, et cetera. Folks, it's just going to get worse, because what happened after this? Well, Volodymyr Zelensky, who dresses like a pauper. You know, I would expect him to wear a suit and tie at least half the time instead of dressing like he just crawled out from under a rock. But I know he does that because it's supposed to get sympathy. You know, he wears that military green zip up kind of woolly pulley thing, and he keeps his beard trimmed to make him look tough, and a semi-military haircut. But you know, it doesn't convince me that he's a leader. What he did do, though, what Zelensky did do, was request an accelerated entrance into NATO. Because Putin is now annexed. The people voted, said we want out of there. The United Nations Charter, right, says that this is allowed. Now, the United States of America says, hey, the U.S. Department of the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control is going to do what? They're going to sanction even more Russians, right? It's not going to stand by, quote, not stand by as Putin fraudulently attempts to annex parts of Ukraine. Right? Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson, Zaporizhia. The U.S. will never accept their independence. They absolutely refuse to accept their independence, folks. Which means they're going to continue to support. They're going to continue to arm Ukraine, and they're going to do all they can to continue the fighting. Right? When a country doesn't get its way, they turn to war. If you don't turn to war, then what happens? Right? The person who takes the aggressive stance wins and believes, well, it's justified. So, of course, they're going to say, well, if we allow Russia to keep the four, they're going to just go for more. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but I can certainly understand the logic behind that. But why are we ignoring other facts like the war atrocities being committed by the Ukraine military in the heavily Russian eastern, well, what were once provinces are now liberated, independent, and then annexed Russian states, right? They were committing huge war atrocities, and Zelensky just says, it is what it is. Let's not talk about that. It's unbelievable, folks. Oh, yeah. They want to get into NATO. What do you think? What good is putting Ukraine in NATO going to do? You think that's going to help? I don't. What is the solution to this? There needs to be some serious discussions. At this point, folks, they have dug themselves a deep hole. I'm talking about the US, NATO, European Union countries. But it's not all cut and dry. It's not the East versus West that you would think is developed. It really isn't. Right. The claim is Putin is failing on the battlefield. Right. This is a huge war escalation. But not everyone agrees with the mainstream media, folks. For real. Seriously. I'm trying to find it right here. In Prague in the Czech Republic. Thousands and thousands and thousands of Czech Republic citizens are protesting loudly in the streets against NATO and the European Union that they are destroying their way of life. And they are demanding an end to hostility towards Russia. Prague is the Czech Republic. It's right there by Poland, which is right there by Ukraine. Are Prague, right, the citizens there, are they Russians? Or are they just tired of seeing NATO, the European Union, the United States of America push and bully and make awful demands of the world? And then the people, folks, people in Prague, the people in the Czech Republic, they're the ones paying for this with high energy costs, with a lower standard of living, with shortages of energy, electricity, fuel, and food. Right? The people have had enough of this shit. Italy, same story. They've had it with the World Economic Forum. They've had it with the European Union, and they voted in a populist who is tired of having their morals stepped on, their culture pissed on, right? Their laws crapped on, their independence, their sovereignty ignored. This is getting ugly. It is becoming the governments against Russia, while the people are fully 100% against what is being done by their governments. In other words, who controls the government, the people or the powerful? Well, the people are supposed to be the power, but now we see who really does pull the strings. Let's do this. It is Free for All Friday. You can talk about whatever you want. Last week, next week, where we're at right now, predictions, historical recollections, quoting your favorite, I don't know, founding father. It is all up to you. So let's do this. Let's get to you now. It's your turn on Free for All Friday on the Prepared Mind channel. Jolene, who do we have up next? We got the Charlanator. And she says, I dropped off a 50-pound bag of russet potatoes to my local food pantry Wednesday morning. As soon as they opened, the parking lot was full of people waiting to get food. Where the hell is that at, Charlanator? Don't give me the city, just give me the state. Where is it right now? I've seen this ever since they started this this cerveza bug madness, lockdown crap. to see Cadillac Escalades in line for food bank, giveaways shocked me. I thought, wow, people aren't planned. People aren't prepared. People can't live. What the hell is going on around here? This is where we're at. Literally, this is where we're at. Illinois. Thank you, Charlonator. Number one, thank you for your generosity for helping others. That is awesome. But this country, we are in big trouble. And we've got it pretty good still. Imagine being in Europe. Remember, they're not like us in the United States. They're like Canada. They're way up north. It's going to be a lot colder for them than it is for us. And their countries, folks, are putting them at risk. Now, whoever it was, I'm not saying it was the U.S., I'm just saying who has the most to gain, who has the most motive, who has the most ability, who had ships, naval ships, that is, in the area, submarines, etc. Yeah, we know who, right? Had the most. And it's disgusts me to know that the corrupt U.S. government in D.C. would be willing to do that. Blow up Russia's pipeline so Russia can no longer sell gas to Europe. Well, that'll stop them. That way they've been punished. They won't make money off of Europe anymore that way. Can we get enough liquid natural gas, LNG, or compressed natural gas, right? CNG. I don't even know what terms they want to use. I see them both. We can't ship enough over there in ships. We can't. And then we've also heard the threat that those are going to be blown up by Russia. Would it surprise you if one of those ships, they look like 2, 3, and 4-titted, whales turned upside down, just these big giant compressed gas domes on these tankers. And they're heading from America. They're heading from other European countries that can actually produce gas, like Norway. I believe England can do that as well to some degree. But Canada and the U.S. are probably the most capable of producing large amounts of natural gas in compressed form. What if Russia sinks one of those? Hey, what if the United States, what if a rogue agency like Spectre blows one of them up? Who are we going to blame? We're going to blame Russia for that? We're going to blame China? What if China blows it up? Is Russia going to blame the U.S. and the U.S. blames Russia? While the people in Europe sit on their sorry asses and freeze. Remember when they were told, yeah, you're going to have to only take one shower a week. Oh, yeah, you want to stay warm? Wear a sweater in your house or two. Right? Hey, you want to eat the bugs, says Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum. We're in big trouble. So, yes, thank you. And again, quick note on Florida while I'm down here. A lot of people want to come down and help. Call ahead of time. Find out where you can help, where to be, and how they want you to help. Do that. Don't just drive down without getting a hold of somebody and saying, I'd like to help. I'd like to send supplies. I'd like to whatever. If you're going to send money, send it to a good charity. The same way we all did back during Hurricane Harvey. But don't just show up because there could be a lot of people in one area that aren't needed. So find out where you need to be if you can and want to help. Find out what you can do for the great people of Florida who have taken it on the chin. Uman says this, I've received a bunch of emails from folks wanting to help with the SHTF Florida disaster, SHT Florida disaster relief. Please have a plan before you head down there. Sign up to volunteer at, here it is, www.volunteerflorida.org. Now, unlike Hurricane Katrina, folks, where the federal government was late getting there and then told everyone to go home and wouldn't allow people to help or offer supplies, Governor DeSantis, ahead of the hurricane, had utility companies, medical emergency people, everyone coming down here, pre-staged, set up, ready to go wherever they were needed. DeSantis kicked ass on this, and now they are, unlike the federal government, trying to put people where they are needed. So thank you, Uman, for putting this up here. Florida.org, volunteerflorida.org. That is great. Let's get some help to these people. And Uman says they'll tell you where and when you best can be utilized, as well as by your abilities. If you have family, friends that need help, go help as soon as you can. If not, wait till they're ready. Now, the other thing is, folks, it's not just Florida. The entire Southwest, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California are being invaded by Mexicans, by other foreign people who are coming across our border. It's an invasion. Our whole country is under attack. And Washington, D.C., well, they want to make sure that there's plenty of pride parades and drag queen shows, and you better not oppose critical race theory, right? It's unbelievable what they are doing instead of what they should be doing. And we all know that. We all know what they should be doing, folks. Unbelievable. Is it my turn, Jolene? Whose turn is it next? I know Uman stepped in there, and thank you for that information, Uman. Terrific, terrific, terrific. We got this. My turn. Thank you, Jolene. I've got so much to talk about. But I want to play Time to Take a Wild Guess, sponsored by the Jim Jones Juice and our new sponsor, new product, the Juice Booster. The Juice Booster that you can't refuse to drink, but 99 out of 100 Americans do. Tastes like death. All right, so the Finland Interior Minister collapses during a live broadcast concerning the Nord Stream explosions. I wonder why the Finland Interior Minister collapsed. Oh, yeah. Of course, they came back later and said, oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine. No explanation given. That's right. No explanation given. No. We couldn't have that. And then again, folks, let's go a little bit further with this. Here it is. Where is it? Coolio, right? Rapper, dead. Found on bathroom floor, dead. Heart attack, dead. His big hit was Gangster Paradise. Take a wild guess on that one. And then I want to let everyone know, I will never buy another M&M in my life because they want to make them inclusive by creating purple M&Ms. That's right. Purple M&Ms to honor the pride, homosexual, LGBTQ, whatever crowd. No thanks. I will pass. I've had enough of this shit, folks. I really have. I mean, this is how ridiculous they are. Planned Parenthood, the organization that wants to provide not just abortions for your daughters and granddaughters. They don't want to just provide them. They want to secretly promote them to your kids in school. They want to offer their abortion services without your knowledge, approval, or permission, and hide everything from you. Their idiot doctor, right, and Democrat, right, had this to say, quote, men can have pregnancies, especially trans men. This guy went to medical school, folks? Or did he go to brainwashing school? Seriously, folks, this is what a doctor says. Now you know, because I've heard this far too long. I've heard this. Well, they went to medical school. They're doctors. They must be smart. They must know something I don't. They're making a decision based on their intelligence. Oh, really? Now I want to ask you, how smart do you have to be a fucking doctor if you can go to medical school and still think men can get pregnant, especially trans men? Really? Unbelievable, folks. No wonder Putin is like, you know what? Fuck the West, right? We've tried to help. We gave them energy. They shut down their own coal, their own natural gas, their own oil. And now these idiots in Europe, they want to fight me. Fuck them, right? We're done with you guys in the West. I mean, how hard would it be to come to that conclusion? And folks, I'm not moving to Russia. I have no intention of going to that cold, barren shithole of Russia. But I can understand why Russians are like, you know what? Fuck the West. We'll let them destroy themselves. And we'll just drink vodka, I guess, and speak Russian. Whatever it is Russians do. They go to the theater, apparently. They go to church, apparently. Apparently, they don't do what the rest of the world does, which is destroy themselves. Anyways, this Planned Parenthood doctor, Yeah, he's a fine example of their intelligence, don't you think? Unbelievable. These are the people on their side, folks. How about the low IQ scholar? Did you know there are low IQ scholars? Well, actually, there aren't. In order to be a scholar, a very intelligent and well-educated person, you were supposed to have a high IQ. Not everyone gets to be a scholar, especially people with low IQs like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She says abortion, folks. What kind of issue is that? Is it a medical issue? Is it a moral issue? No, none of those. Neither of those. For AOC, she says it's an economic issue. Do you remember taking Economics 101? Remember that? Eco 101, Eco 102, 103, where they talked about abortion and economics in college? No. But she says abortion is an economic issue because raising kids forces parents to work more against their will. Raising kids doesn't force anyone to do anything. But that's what she says. If raising kids forces you to do something, no, your moral choice causes you, right? It's a consequence of your actions that you have to pay for. Raising kids, right? Kids come because you did that, right? We all understand where kids come from. Well, except for the left, I guess. They think you can have butthole babies over there in the LGB weird ass crowd. Still, raising kids forces parents? No. You have sex, you create a baby, and it is your choice. Not at the child, not at the pregnancy, but to have sex. That's where the decision was made. Everything else is a consequence of those decisions. More work against their will. I know a lot of welfare EBT people out there. They're not working a single hour in their week. They go get their welfare and they don't do a damn thing. Raising kids for them doesn't make them work at all. Unbelievable. But I'm sure they're still going to bitch and complain about it. All right, let's do this. Let's get to some of your topics, folks. I'm pissed off. I've had it. It's Friday. It is the free-for-all. And I'm going to need tomorrow off. Doing stuff with Nikki says, ugh, gag me with a dirty spoon. I just saw Biden is coming to Florida. What the fuck is that demented ass going to do? We don't want him here anyway. Nikki, if he shows up in your area, I would hope beyond hope that you go to the lineup and watch his motorcade go by and give him the double dirty bird. There is nothing that Biden can do in Florida that would help. What's he going to do? Start handing out vaccinations? More of his brilliance. Literally, folks, to get prepared for a hurricane, you need to get vaccinated. How the fuck is that going to help you stop a 12-foot wall of water that's washing on shore in a storm surge? Huge hurricane, Hurricane Ian. Way bigger than I thought it was going to be, but I'm not a meteorologist. I just knew it was going to be bad, right? It's not the entire state destroyed. And I would go so far as to make this bet that there isn't a conservative or Republican or patriotic Floridian that gives a shit about Joe Biden or wants a single dollar from that pile of shit in the White House. The same pile of shit who says we are a threat to the republic, we're a threat to freedom, we're a threat to the country. And taking that note, the mainstream media starts calling us evil and that there are no good Republicans, all Republicans bad, all Republicans are evil. There is no room in this man's country anymore for these leftists, folks. They've declared war on us, and now they pretend they're going to help after blaming the hurricane literally on DeSantis and Republicans, saying they caused it. They caused the hurricane. That's how stupid they are, folks. Unbelievable. Thank you, Nikki, and please, right, please. All right, let him have it if you see him. Give him the big fur bird, and literally, right? Now, I want to play Take a Wild Guess again on Free for All Friday. Now, a 5-year-old kindergarten student died after suffering from stroke and seizure due to, well, a rare disease. So rare, folks. They said this kid had a disease that's so rare that the doctors couldn't explain what it was. And if this young 5-year-old boy, cute little guy, right? I had cute little guys when they were in that age, kindergarten. If he wasn't vaccinated, the mainstream media would be screaming about how he wasn't vaccinated and probably blame the disease on cerveza bug. But they didn't say a word, zip, zilch, shh, not a word about his vaccination status. The mom's trying to get answers. Doctors don't have any idea, but you can take a wild guess. When will the world have enough of this bullshit, folks? Bullshit. All right, let's move on. It is your turn. Who's next? Bonnie Blue 2A. PP. Is that Pfizer? PP is the largest provider of puberty-blocking drugs to minors. No parental permission required. Who is fucking PP? I mean, Pfizer's Pfizer. I tell you what, puberty-blocking drugs, Planned Parenthood, facepalm. I tell you, they don't want to tell anyone what they're doing. They don't want to notify parents of what they're doing. How can you give puberty-blocking drugs to children? I mean, basically, what are they handing birth control pills to boys, which are loaded with estrogen? That'll block the fuck out of puberty. Now, Planned Parenthood, as far as I'm concerned, folks, is a satanic organization, hell-bent on killing as many people as they can. And yeah, I bet those people that would have been born would have grown up to be fine Democrats. So they're on the one hand, folks, they're committing all act of horror, but they're also killing their own voter base. It's racist. It's eugenics. It's horrifying, folks. It's horrifying. Planned Parenthood needs to be abolished. I'm disgusted that the federal government supports it with tax dollars. I should be able to say I'm not paying another dime in tax because I don't want a single dime of my taxes to go to Planned Parenthood. I ought to be able to say no money for them and have it stick. But, you know, the government would say, oh, yeah, John, it's cool. We won't let any of your money go over that way. But they would. They would probably send all of my money to them that I have to pay in taxes, and I have paid in taxes for fucking decades. Now, switching gears again, and I love switching gears. Folks, did you know that, what do we do here? I've been designated the prophet of prepping, right? Because I've been talking about for years getting people prepared, telling the future, right? By looking at what has happened in the past, seeing where we're at now, and watching the direction in which we're going. It's an easy prediction for me, the prophet of prepping. Well, guess what? Bill Gates is now a prophet and a prepper, right? Creepy scumbag Bill Gates, friend of Jeffrey Epstein, child molester Bill Gates, made an ominous prediction. And I think we ought to take him serious, folks. He made a prediction about a pandemic, and guess what? Whether it was natural or synthetic, that is to say man-made, we got a pandemic, didn't we? Here is Bill Gates, the scumbag's prediction. Quote, we're going to have a hung election and a civil war. And misinformation may bring it all to an end. Now, one of the things I have problems with this cretin and these creeps is they assign definitions to words that you and I use, but they make a different definition for it. What is a hung election? Well, I'll tell you what, in Germany, folks, they know how to handle elections that have problems. Guess what they're doing right now? They had an election. There were irregularities, so they're going to hold the election again. Problem solved until they get the election right. Bill Gates says we're going to have a hung election. I don't think Bill has ever looked in the mirror and said the word hung. But we're going to have a hung election. The election can be decided, folks. It's pretty easy. We have remedies in law to handle this already, folks. But the federal government would love to say, well, we can't make a decision, right? But Bill Gates also says we're going to have a civil war. What does he mean by a civil war? Now, the civil war we had back in the 1860s was an army in the South and the army from the North ended up fighting it out. Is there an army other than the United States Army and the United States Marine Corps and the United States Navy and the United States Air Force? No, there is no South. There is no free state union. There is no confederacy. There is no army. There is no organized opponent to Washington, D.C. So I don't think we would have a civil war. Now, I've been calling what can happen a partisan war. A partisan war. Now, he says misinformation, quote, may bring it all to an end. What will bring everything to an end is the truth. And this is where their definition of words is wrong. What we call the truth, they call misinformation. We said the Jim Jones juice is poison. They said that's misinformation. What have we found out? The Jim Jones juice is poison. We said cerveza bug is bullshit. They said that's misinformation. What have we found out? Cerveza bug is not deadly. It is no more deadly than any other flu. It's bullshit. We've called them on it, called them on it, called them on it. What they call misinformation is truth. It is fact. It is reality. So reality, fact, and truth may bring it all to an end. Bill Gates is right. We're going to have war, folks. We're going to have an end to this at some point. It is coming. And I have to read you this. Colonel Black is a retired Marine Corps colonel. He is also a former Virginia State Senator. Colonel Black says, globalists, this is his quote, globalists are marching us relentlessly toward this nuclear Armageddon. Colonel Black discussed the U.S.'s intervention into Ukraine under Obama with Victoria Nuland's involvement in the coup to replace the government there. See, folks, it's not a wild-eyed claim by me and you and the internet media guys. There was a CIA coup, and it overthrew a legitimate government, the government of Ukraine, and a retired United States Marine Corps colonel, not some wacko Lance Corporal who served 30 some odd years ago. No. This is a retired, meaning he put in at least 20. He was a state senator, meaning he was elected by the people. He was legitimate. He's not a nobody, folks. And he says that under Obama, the U.S. intervened in Ukraine and there was a coup. There are many, many military vets, folks, and patriotic public servants like Colonel Black who know what is happening and they see where this is leading, and we know who is doing it and why. It is the globalists, and the globalists are the World Economic Forum, Bill Gates, George Soros, Klaus Schwab, and the whole gang, the European Union, the deep state in the U.S. government. Yes, the deep state is real, and the Democrats admitted it and even lie, claiming they are patriots as they destroy our nation. We hear it, folks. Do we not? I mean, listen to this dickhead.
They want to eliminate what they call the deep state. The deep state is a cadre of professionals dedicated to honoring the Constitution, the laws of this country, and carrying out the policies of the Congress and the President.
There it is. Once again, folks, a representative, a Democrat on the floor says the deep state exists and they're a cadre of good guys who are protecting the Constitution. Which Constitution? They are globalists, folks, and they're trying to do exactly what we've been fearing the most, marching us relentlessly toward nuclear war. Russia is saying no more of this shit. Fuck you to the West. Ukraine is saying, please make us a NATO country, and NATO countries get nuclear weapons. Do you think we can trust that short, little, skinny jeans wearing light in the loafers Fruit Loop with nuclear weapons? I don't. Friday free for all. I'm on fire. What do you guys want to talk about? It is your turn. Mikey G. He says, I can't believe they are still pushing the Jim Jones juice. Saw an ad for the new booster shot today. Beyond reprehensible. It is, folks. I mean, and it's international, around the world, right? These world leaders, they just pass the fuck out. They fall over dead. Celebrities, sports stars, super athletes, kids, young children, older children, parents, old folks just keeling over, heart attacks. Well, I can't believe all the clot material we found in them. Say, undertakers, morgue workers around the world. Huge increases in death. Yeah, now we have to worry about kids having heart attacks. Nothing ever like that has happened in my life. Ever. Kids, you need to learn what myocarditis is, and you need to learn what it feels like if you're starting to have a stroke or a heart attack, so you can stop it before it kills you all the way. Vax regret. Unbelievable. How many people regret getting vaccinated, folks? Millions and millions and millions. How many people regret gender change surgery? Every single one of them that I've ever heard of questions it. As soon as they wake up, did I do the right thing? Yeah, you did great, buddy. You took yourselves out of the gene pool. Good job. Unbelievable, folks. Regret? You think Europeans aren't regretting their elections they've had? The only ones not, folks, right now regretting their election are the Italians, who elected a populace, that is, a leader that believes in Italy, morality, decency, culture, and the law. The law in America? Hey, folks, the FBI is purging conservative employees and retaliating against whistleblowers. Of course, that's illegal. Whistleblowers are supposed to be offered whistleblower protection. Doesn't matter. They're going to fire you, retaliate against you. Unbelievable, folks. There should be lawsuits just flying. But what do we have in Washington, D.C., in that federal district? A bunch of liberal, left-wing, socialist judges ready to deny anybody right their day in court. Unbelievable what is going on, folks. Right? I mean, here, get this. Get this shit. This week, Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat socialist piece of shit, he signed 12 laws, folks, and all of them were about abortion. 12 abortion laws that intentionally contravene the laws of other states. Now, folks, there is a huge states' rights issue here. It's a huge 10th Amendment issue here. Can one state protect citizens or non-California citizens from laws in another state? Does one state's law and power override another state's power to govern crime? Like, if they say abortion is illegal, can California say, no, sorry to you, Missouri. Sorry to you, Louisiana. We don't listen to your laws here, and we can protect your people against what? Right? This is actually a case, folks, for a national government to determine, not federal authority. The federal government shouldn't have federal authority over anything but to decide the limitations of one state over another. Case closed. California, your laws only apply in the state of California. Once someone's out of California, that state can apply their laws to that person, and there's nothing you can do. If you want to be a sanctuary state, California, you can invite people in. They can do what they do in your state, but as soon as they leave California, guess what? If they've done something in California that's a crime and they go back to another state that says that was a crime, California, you don't get to protect them when they're not in your jurisdiction. But don't worry, folks. Lawlessness, that won't stop Gavin Newsom. That won't stop California. Fuck California, folks. I left it 2 years ago, and I will never go back and live there, ever. It is literally one of the most beautiful places on the planet. It has deserts. It has lush farmlands. It has coastal ranges. It has mountains. It has some of the most beautiful forests on the planet. Huge, majestic mountains, volcanoes. It has the biggest, most rich agricultural soil that I think I've ever heard of, short of Ukraine, right? Amazing rivers, parks, and it's run by a bunch of intellectual retards. And it has been, folks, for well over 70 years. A bunch of idiots. Unbelievable. Let's do this. Let's get to one of your questions out there. Jolene, who do we have in the hopper? We've got to have somebody out there. It's Free for All Friday, and it is none other than my good friend, Crispy Bacon. He says, on the brink of World War III, food security is number one in my book. Biden's handlers are itching to fuck around and find out. I agree with you, man. I agree with you, Chris. And I'll be giving you a call here shortly. United Nations food chief warns of chaos, hell, and widespread food shortage next year. That's 2023. Right now, it's 2022. Now, the food we're eating right now, folks, in 2022 was grown in 2021. The meat, the vegetables, the processed crackers, cookies, goodies, all that stuff that's already food was made in 2021, and we're eating it in 2022. The shortages that have been created by Biden, the World Economic Forum, the European Union, and all the idiots that started the war in the beginning of 2022, fertilizers cut, food expense because of diesel fuel goes through the roof. Factories, food storage places, burning, right? Little ones here and little ones there, but it all adds up. Food shortages coming in 2023 because of what they did this year to this year's crops, to this year's food supply, to this year's food manufacturing. How many millions of chickens were killed? Right? At first, I was very skeptical. Okay, this little place, that little place, but then it added up and it continued to add up. Fires. I mean, we just had a fresh produce market burned to the ground in France. I thought juicy, fresh vegetables weren't flammable. It's not like they're made out of fucking natural gas or diesel. You can't hold a match to a watermelon and have it explode in flames. Give me a break. Anyways, thank you, Crispy Bacon. It's good to be down here in Florida, folks. But I tell you, the situation is the same. The situation is the same here as it is everywhere else in the country. Inflation, huge. Cost of living, up. Dollar value, taking a shit. The people here are incredibly patriotic and American. But yeah, there's liberals and Fruit Loops all over the place in Florida. This entire country, the entire world is in big trouble, folks. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Do you have it together? Do you know what the hell you're going to do when shit goes bad? Right? Florida just found out. They weren't fucking around, but they sure found out. Other places, folks, they are fucking around. They really are. And they're going to find out. Europe, they fucked around, and now they're finding out. Are they not? You want to put up windmills? You want to put up solar panels and try and run an industrial nation on that? Folks, that's fucking around, and they are finding out. Okay, let's do this. Let's get to some more of your comments, thoughts, suggestions, etc. It's Yankee Watchdog. He says the general public is stupid. Bro, I cannot argue with you on that. They are stupid. They're stupid. What I've got here is a Sea Crane radio. I've had this forever, it seems like. It's a wind-up radio, right? It has AM, FM weather channels, little flashlight, little itty-bitty solar panel on the back, right? It's kind of like a toy. Simple, right? We sell all this shit or have affiliate links to sell stuff. You had that radio, all you have to do is hit the on button and it would tell you, Get the fuck out of there, right? But the general public is stupid, right? This show is about helping people overcome their stupidity and their ignorance, right? That's why we say, right, give it a thumbs up. Be sure and subscribe button, right? Share that internet address with others, that internet address right up there, so people can hear the message and wake up. You don't have to be a diehard prepper. You don't have to be a Marine or a fucking soldier. You don't have to be any of that to be a prepper. You just have to start paying attention. And we'll tell you, get 3 months worth of food saved up. You can go buy big bags of rice for next to nothing. You can buy lots of food for next to nothing. You can get long-term food storage food, right? Still, you can do that. Get self-defense. The police aren't here to save you when shit gets crazy. We've already had that tested back in 2020, the summer of love, the spring of love, when they started burning down police stations, streets, shutting down cities, attacking businesses, looting and murdering. And the police said, we're sorry, Mr. John, but we're all busy. You're on your own. Oh, okay. Now I check that box off. I'm on my own in bad situations. I'm not going to be able to get food in bad situations. Water may be bad in bad situations. I'm going to need water filtration. Right there. Bam. Berkey water filters, Midland CBs, and radios. Mobile solar panels, right? Hey, power's out for Floridians. Guess what? I bet they got a shit pile of generators going. Right? Friends of mine have family right in the affected areas, just south of where I'm at right now. Guess what? They got generators and fuel. That is those who didn't have their houses completely inundated and destroyed. And folks, all of the inundation, all of the flooding that absolutely destroyed houses is down close to the beach. Right. Now, I'm gonna leave that there. I know we've got a limited amount of time and a couple more questions. Let's get to them on this Free for All Friday. Jolene, who is up next? We got Kevin Huff. He says, Putin doesn't want to take over the entire world. He only wants the good parts. Well, that's interesting. If I was Putin, would I want to try and convince a nation full of idiots, like Yankee Watchdog just pointed out? Would you want to take care of idiots? Manage them, control them, try and govern them? That's taken on a job that is just horrifyingly difficult. Now, the World Economic Forum, the globalists, the socialists, Democrats, they have destroyed the education system. They've brainwashed and indoctrinated children for generations now. They've ruined the intelligence of the community, the people. Not all of us, just the dumb ones. And then they're like, see, the people are so stupid, we have to tell them what to do. You guys get to eat bugs. Yeah, Putin is like, you know what? They can keep their stupid people, but they're not going to screw us over. They're not going to fuck us up. Russia, folks, for its part in this game, back in the early 90s, the Soviet Union fell. America was like, yay, fuck you, Soviet Union, you bunch of communists. As the Democrat Party here in America continued to push for socialist communist law. Well, Putin has had to get Russia to survive on its own, to live while being handicapped with U.S. sanctions the entire time. Everyone kicking dirt in Russia's face and pissing all over Russia, saying, fuck you, Russia, right? They've already survived SHTF. They've already stored up, stacked up, reserved, saved their wealth. The rest of the world's going to take a shit, folks. Europe, America, Canada, Australia. South America is going to be heavily crippled because they rely on us. Not all countries are going to go all the way down, but many of them, yeah. And guess what? Russia's not going to be hurt by this. They've already, folks, learned to live with less and make do with what they've got. Putin, I don't think, wants to take over the world, because who wants to adopt a bunch of retarded children? And I'm not making fun of retarded children, folks. I'm making fun of the Americans who have bought into this notion that the super elite ivory tower assholes are going to save us. Bill Gates will not save us. Charlie Munger And Warren Buffett will not save us. Jeff Bezos will not save us. Amazon won't save us. Walmart won't save us. Target, no, sorry, not going to do it. Washington, D.C., they couldn't give a flying frog's fat ass about you or me. It's all about their money and their power. And they're making money hand over fist as we crash, folks. There needs to be hell to pay for the hell that's been created. There really needs to be, folks, that hell to pay. And I think it's going to happen. But what happens is people, they'll attack each other also. Like injured animals, the first other animal they come across is going to be attacked because of fear, anger, discomfort. Right? You've seen a dog that's been injured, you try and pet it, and it growls at you and nips at you because it's hurt. That's what people are going to be doing. They're already doing it. They're already screaming and yelling at each other. Democrat idiots are hurt. What are they doing? They're running over Republicans. They're shooting Republicans. They're attacking Republicans because they're hurt. And who hurt them? Well, they hurt themselves, and they were hurt by their own Democrat leaders. Bunch of fucking morons. All right, let's move on if we shall. I think we've got one more super question from Studio Ryu LLC. You know who that is? That is Rudy, the urban aboriginal. Rudy, if you want to do PayPal, man, you've got to do the new one that's part of this. The new link for PayPal is this one. PayPal, Rudy, canceled me because, I'm too far right. I'm just too radical, calling for freedom and liberty, independent rights, individual rights, respecting individuals. So they got rid of us, Rudy. Anyways, man, thank you for your support. Thank you for the message I got from you earlier, Rudy. I've been working my ass off, and I know the rest of you have as well. I'm not trying to sound like I'm special. I just know what I have to do. Even on a day, right, I was down here waiting for the hurricane, and it turned south and left. I was like, wow, right? That was the one day that I basically sat around watching, doing my job, right? But watching what was coming. But before that, it was eagerly hurried, getting set up for the hurricane, getting prepared. And since then, been slowly taking everything down and putting things away and helping people clean up, etc. When shit hits the fan for any other reason, do you think it's going to be fast and easy? I mean, it's incredible, folks. Getting set up for a hurricane had days in advance. And I was like, holy cow, it took a long time to get set up. And of course, for a hurricane is different than getting set up for BLM coming down the street. But the idea of, having a bunch of sandbags, well, sandbags are rather bulletproof. Or at least they can build a defensive perimeter. Having sandbags is something I think I've recommended for years. They can be empty or full. It doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. If they're empty, you got to fill them. You got to have a pile of sand somewhere. But having sandbags available to build, shall we say, fortified observation posts, I think that's probably a good thing to have. Well, okay, Jolene, bring it on. We got one more super duper. Oh, and it's from Christine Bihana. And it has to do with our good fruitcake buddies, the LGBT crowd. She says, so when a man transitions to a woman, they can make whole for the private parts. But how do they attach a private part to a woman trans to a man? Well, I'm not a medical professional, and if I was, I wouldn't apply my intellect to this problem. But I think I'm guessing what they probably do is, I'm just going to guess that they take the vagina and turn it inside out and stitch it together, try and shape it like a penis. And I'm just guessing. I think they're absolutely fucking stupid and crazy. These people are just a lost cause. Really. I mean, if you're a guy and you want to be a girl, you're talking about fucking your health up, screwing up your own anatomy and physiology. You're going to create lifelong medical issues that can only be treated with drugs that are provided by pharmaceutical companies. And the psychological problems you're going to have dealing with yourself for what you did to yourself, as well as your other family members and anyone else you interfere with their life by bringing your problems into it. I mean, listen to all of these dipshits, educators who are either gay or tranny, and they want to talk to children about their problems. They're bleeding their problems all over everyone else, making their problems everyone else's problems. Oh, and by the way, pharmaceutical companies are making fucking bank on these drugs. Whether they sell them through doctors or through Planned Parenthood, they are making huge amounts of money. They're making money on the Jim Jones juice. They're making money on the juice boosters. They're making money on antidepressants. They're making money on transition drugs. They're making money on every single thing they do. And who is pushing this shit? Politicians. Who is pushing this shit? Socialist Democrats. Who is pushing this shit? Fruitcakes, folks. None of these people have your, my, or anyone's best interest. All they want is the money. Unbelievable and stunning what is going on, folks. Stunning. Well, we're on this, folks. In the United Kingdom, in Britain, parents sued a school and they won because their 6-year-old was labeled a potential transphobic. I mean, get this, folks. Here's a quote, right? Quote, in the letter, one of the paragraphs stated, we would be deemed transphobic if we did not adhere to the belief. That belief, folks, is that you can transition from one gender to another. So continuing with this person named Nigel, he says, if we did not recognize a child can change his gender, but then my son at the age of 6 would also be deemed a transphobic if he didn't use the correct pronouns. Folks, forcing people to accept another person or a government's belief system is the crime, not the other way around. Denying someone else wanting to change reality, change facts, that's not a crime. Forcing people to accept a ridiculous belief system, that's the crime. And labeling kids, isn't that bullying? By saying, hey, kid, you're fat, or hey, kid, you're skinny, or hey, kid, you're too white, or hey, kid, you're too black, or hey, kid, this or that. Doesn't that negatively affect a child, labeling them? Folks, I was labeled as too white. I got called albino and shit made fun of me. I can't tell you how many kids of all races and colors called me Cotton, Q-Tip, Casper, Ghost, Whitey, Cracker, you name it, and I don't care. But then again, I'm that kind of guy who doesn't give a fuck what other people think of him. But for all the kids that are just worried about what everyone else thinks about them, oh my God, right? Folks, these pharmaceutical companies, political leaders, social activist groups that want to cut everyone's genitals off, they're a bunch of sick perverts, folks. And in America and internationally, they need a continual court-ass whipping. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for bringing that topic up yet one more time. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. I want to thank Mr. Skylight for all of the great articles he's been sending. Thank you very much, sir. Hat tip to you. I'll see everybody for Sunday Night Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And there's an app for that. Oh, wait, there's a fix for that. Remember, folks, Germany, they can't figure out how to make electricity. That's stupid. But somehow they figured out if there's discrepancies and problems in the voting system, then you just hold another election. Hold on to your hats, folks. We've got just 1 month until our midterm elections. And then shit is going to hit the fan after that. I can agree with Bill Gates on that. Shit is going to hit the fan. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense and a plan. Godspeed, Semper Fi.